Canada's Fentanyl Czar reportedly told U.S. officials, "I have no authority." Welcome to Wake Up Canada News. I'm Brad Wilder. This next article comes from Sam Cooper. U.S. officials say Canada's Fentanyl Czar admitted having no authority over RCMP, undermining Carney's assurances of historic border measures. Ottawa's newly appointed Fentanyl Czar told U.S. officials in Ottawa he has no authority to influence Canadian federal police or border agencies. This, according to an official with knowledge of the relevant meetings. For U.S. enforcement experts, the admission underlined what they describe as the emptiness of Justin Trudeau and Mark Carney's high-profile pledges to crack down on transnational fentanyl production and trafficking by Chinese and Mexican syndicates, and underscored systemic failures in Canada's response to cartels exploiting the nation's ports, borders, and even infrastructure. Ottawa's response this year to President Donald Trump's threat of fentanyl interdiction tariffs, well, including the high-profile czar position, promises to join cross-border gang task forces, and pledges to strengthen border security. This is being described by U.S. and Canadian enforcement sources as largely performative, lacking both real authority and the baseline cooperation with U.S. counterparts needed to address Canada's vulnerabilities. The Trudeau government named Kevin Brosseau as Canada's first fentanyl czar back in February, responding to Trump's warnings of sweeping tariffs. According to U.S. government sources, Brosseau met officials from the State Department, Homeland Security Investigations, and even the DEA. While cordial, the meetings left American counterparts with the perception that Brosseau had no real authority and no capacity to implement improvements. I quote, he said, "Listen, I don't tell the RCMP what to do. I listen to what the RCMP, CBSA, and other police services have to say, but I have no authority to direct them or ask them to do anything," one U.S. source recalled. "There's been nothing that's come out of the office since they established it," the source added. "No strategic plan. I don't even know if he's relevant anymore. It was just another Trudeau NDP-type program that sounded good when they announced it, but in the end, it didn't do absolutely anything." Brosseau's appointment followed Trudeau's February 3rd post to X. "I just had a good call with President Trump. Canada is implementing our $1.3 billion border plan, reinforcing the border with new choppers, technology, and personnel, enhanced coordination with our American partners, and increased resources to stop the flow of fentanyl," Trudeau wrote. In addition, Canada is making new commitments to appoint a fentanyl czar. "We will list cartels as terrorists, ensure 24/7 eyes on the border, launch a Canada-U.S. Joint Strike Task Force to combat organized crime, fentanyl, and even money laundering." End quote. Yet multiple sources told the Bureau these moves produced little substance, reinforcing a long-standing U.S. view that Ottawa talks about cooperation but does not deliver. For U.S. officials, the core problems between Washington and Ottawa involve weak laws, porous borders, and information sharing impediments. Canada officials often cite the Supreme Court's Stinchcombe ruling, which requires extensive disclosure of evidence to the defense, as a barrier to intelligence-driven cases. U.S. experts argue these rules, combined with political sensitivities, prevent Canadian agencies from targeting major transnational drug traffickers, even when there is clear investigative intelligence, including wiretap material. Meetings followed Trump's threats and Trudeau's announcement, source said, including the Ontario Premier Doug Ford, on efforts to create a new CBSA RCMP border interdiction team. Canada's in a lot of trouble. Vancouver, East Hastings, even worse. The rest of the country is falling in line exactly the way the government wants. We have a drug problem. We have a cartel problem and a gang problem. It needs to be addressed, and it needs to be addressed as soon as possible. Please like, share, and follow us on any of your favorite socials, including Facebook, YouTube, Rumble, X, BitChute, and our website at wakeupcanadanews.com. Till next time, remember that you're the voice, and it's time to make it count. I'm Brad Wilder, and I'll see you soon.